173 people who have died. Today is our highest day of confirmed cases. If you're struggling after the death of a loved one or maybe fighting COVID yourself, we send you prayers for healing. North Carolina is continuing its pause in the Safer at Home Phase 2. And of course, we've added the requirements for face coverings when in public. Since that took effect Friday, we're encouraged to see more people wearing their face coverings when they're out and about. As we go into the holiday weekend, we must keep our guard up. This virus is just as contagious and deadly as on a holiday as it is any other day. And I know we want to gather with family and friends, but we have to remember that a large gathering, especially without mask and social distancing, is one of the most likely places for COVID-19 to spread. The holiday may be different from years past, but we can still celebrate our great country's independence while keeping it safe. Today, we'd also like to give you an update on the discussions about reopening public schools for the 2020-21 school year. In early June, we released the Strong Schools NC Public Health Toolkit that laid out essential health practices for schools to reopen safely. Schools were asked to prepare 3 plans. The first plan is in-person learning with key health and safety rules. The second plan is the same as the first plan, but with fewer children actually in the classroom at a time. And the third plan is remote learning, all remote learning for students. District and school administrators are still working on ways to implement those plans, and we're asking them to keep using the time to work with teachers and staff and parents and public health officials to make sure that our schools are opening in the safest possible way. Let me be clear. We want our schools open for in-person instruction in August. The classroom is the best place for children to learn. Recent reports recommend it, and I know many parents and children agree with this. School is where children learn academics, but it's also how they build their social skills, get reliable meals, stay physically fit, and really become tomorrow's leaders. We're not issuing a statewide directive today on how schools should open in the fall, but we will soon. We want to get our students back in the classroom, and we want to make sure that we get this right. My number one opening priority is classroom doors. So we encourage our public schools to continue that planning with a special focus on how teachers, staff, and students can best be protected, especially those who are high risk. Work to prepare our schools is already underway. For example, this week our emergency management and public health staff began delivering a 2-month supply of medical-grade protective wear to schools across our state. These face shields, gowns, and other gear will go to school nurses and staff who have to provide health care to children while they're at school. We've also given school districts access to statewide contracts so that they can more easily purchase for their staff and students other health and hygiene supplies like cloth face coverings and hand sanitizers. We're also encouraging private companies to give too. We need to do more, and we're committed to work with schools, teachers, parents, the Department of Public Instruction, and the State Board of Education to make sure that our schools are safe. Now, when we had to close school for in-person instruction in March, our teachers and school support staff like bus drivers and cafeteria workers geared up for remote learning. And I'm thankful for their work to keep lessons, the meals, and the support for their students going. As you all know, my mom was a teacher, and I know how educators make many sacrifices even during normal times, and now we are in extraordinary times. As school restarts in August, it's vital that we look out for the well-being of our teachers and other school workers, as well as our students. A few schools are scheduled to start in July, and we ask that those schools conduct remote learning until the decision is made for in-person learning. And that will be made soon enough for schools to go back in August. Our goal remains getting children back in the classroom for in-person instruction that's safe for students and their teachers. To meet that goal, we want to avoid the increased virus spread that we're seeing across the country. We need everyone to do what works. The 3 W's. Wear a face covering over your mouth and nose. Wash your hands. Wait 6 feet apart. Especially the face covering part, which we learn every day to be more and more important to this process. Sticking to those safety rules now will help schools get back open safely. It'll help stabilize our numbers and our trends, keep our hospitals from being overwhelmed. And at the end of the day, it'll help save lives. We have the power, and we can do this together. Today I'm joined by the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, Dr. Mandy Cohen, our Secretary of Public Safety, Eric Hooks, and Emergency Management Director, Mike Sprayberry. Monica McGee and Brian Tipton are our sign language interpreters, and behind the scenes, Jackie and Jasmine Mativier are our Spanish language interpreters. We'll first hear from Secretary Cohen.
Thank you, Governor. COVID-19 is formidable. It has caused each of us to weigh the benefits and risks of actions like never before. Seemingly small actions, like wearing a face covering, waiting 6 feet apart, and washing our hands often, now have an outsized impact not only on our own lives, but on the lives of all North Carolinians, including our children.